Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Friday, May the 27th, race number 9 at Santa Anita. We will conclude the card with a 1.125 turf race for fillies and mares. This is a $50,000 starter optional claiming event. Let's take a look at this field. Please scan the QR code for race of the day access on your mobile device, and you can view free formulator past performances for this race on the race of the day event page at DRF.com. Take a peek, handicap along with us. When you've made your final determinations, you can play this race in the entire Santa Anita Friday card with your DRF Bets account, which include free formulator past performances. Interesting group, Mike. The two Ghostum looks like the speed, but she's stepping way up in class off a maiden win.
Yeah, at least her maiden win last time was over this distance, Dan. Overall, I just felt like it was a really well-matched field. I think a lot of different horses can win here. I think trips are going to be really important in this race, and Ghostum just feels like she's going to get a good one because she's probably going to be in front.
That's a good segue into our Timeform US pace projector, where we see Ghostum, the number 2, expected to make the early lead. The number 7, Ice Queen, does have tactical speed, making her second start off of the claim and stretching out just a little bit. Noble Hearted, the 5. What's good about Noble Hearted is she has the ability to place herself in that good pocket position. She had it last time, wasn't able to parlay it into a victory, but that tactical speed will help in this spot.
Yeah, I agree. She has tactical speed. I even feel like the 8 on the outside there could get herself into a better position this time. Last time that didn't happen for her, but two back, she was in a slow-paced maiden race, sat right on top of it and won.
You mentioned that trips are going to be important in this race. The number 1 for the Good Times is one of several horses in this race that had less than ideal trips in their most recent starts. And of course, you can click on your free formulator past performances, click on the short comment line, and you'll be able to get race replays. For the Good Times, last time out was making her first start off about a 4.5-month layoff. She was kind of last on the rail and in between horses and in tight on the back stretch. Then I thought, the jock did a pretty good job following Tomorrow Is a Long Time in the stretch. She never got fully clear and she was running on late.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't work out for her last time. She's one of 4 horses back in here, Dan, out of that May 1st race for this condition. That was going a mile. I didn't think any of the 4 necessarily got great trips in that race. So I felt like you could sort of make cases for any one of them to run better back in this spot. Certainly For the Good Times is one of those. That trip last time, it really just didn't work out for her. And by the time she was able to get clear in that race, it was way too late.
And remember, that race was also won in gate-to-wire fashion by the favorite. For the Good Times will now make her second start of the form cycle. She won her second lifetime start back at Santa Anita last year. The 2 is Ghostum. We're going to take a look at Ghostum's maiden victory, going this 1.125 distance. And she went pretty quick on the lead. I think she caught the right field finally in her 7th lifetime start. She was bet down to 11-10 favoritism. She was clear on the lead, and she kept right on rolling.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and knock this performance, Dan. The fractions, look pretty legitimate in this race. But, the flip side of that is she was absolutely loose. She never took any pressure in here. She was doing it all on her own without anybody challenging her. And she finished that race off very nicely. I respect the fact that she did it at 1.125 miles. I respect the fact that she could be loose again in this race. And I feel like, maybe one more slight step forward, she can beat this field.
Mike Smith retains the mount on the number 3, Witch Moon, for the very underrated trainer, Bill Spar. This one's coming out of the For the Good Times race, and in that spot, she drew a very tough outside post position, and really all they could do was sort of just take back and try to make one run. She swung wide in the stretch. The pace was there. She was making up late ground. She's very consistent. She just doesn't win very often.
Yeah, great. That's what I didn't like about her. I mean, you could say that last time, just, sort of being on the outside the entire trip in there, maybe cost her a little bit at the end. She was only beaten 1.5 lengths. And she never got anywhere near the rail. But she also had a pretty clean trip out there, was wide on the second turn, finished really gamely. I thought she ran her typical race in there. And it wasn't quite good enough. She's another one. She could easily win here, Dan. I wouldn't take too short a price on her.
Here's a lightly raced filly with a little bit more upside, perhaps, than Witch Moon, and that's the number 4, Travel Smart, for Ruben Alvarado. Let's watch her most recent race. This is the 3rd start for the barn, and we're going to see her. She's in behind horses turning into the stretch. I thought this pace was solid, Mike, but you're going to see here room gets pretty scarce.
Yeah, her rider made that decision around the second turn there because she was actually in a pretty good spot, and he could have taken her out into the clear there to try to come around the outside with a clean run. He didn't do it. It wound up not working out for him, and there's just no way he's going to catch this horse in front of him. She actually still finished up pretty well in that race. I felt like she did the same thing 2 starts back, Dan, where they just took her back to last. She came wide around the turn. The 1-2 finishers both got through on the inside, and she came with a really good finish in there. It was just way too late. Good spot for her. She's got to get the 1.125, but just based on the way she strides out in her races, Dan, and her pedigree, this is a Samson family that traces back to Sky Classic. She's supposed to get this far.
I'm with you. I'm not worried about the distance, and I think the price is fair. My one concern is she's a little bit clumsy coming out of the gate. Sometimes I think she creates her own trouble by leaving there awkwardly, but I do like her upside potential. And that last race, I think, is a little bit better than it looks on paper. Noble Hearted is the number 5. Ranquertolo takes the mount for Peter Urton. We're going to watch her last race. I thought this trip ultimately worked out for Noble Hearted. She was down on the inside in the pocket here. She's going to turn into the stretch, and she'll finish second. Summer Daisy was 3-5. Summer Daisy was supposed to win, and Summer Daisy arguably had the best trip of all.
Yeah, I mean, this horse got a perfect trip in here. Not quite as good a trip as the 3-5 winner, and she's just no match for her. You can see that she's not making a race of it here. That's Witch Moon, the 4 on the outside, who once again was wide all the way in that race, while Noble Hearted just sat on the rail. This horse ran fine in that race. If I had to take either her or Witch Moon out of the last race, I might take Witch Moon.
Noble Hearted, though, has a win at 1.125 and has a lot more tactical speed. Unfaithful Ways is up next. This one coming out of a $50,000 maiden selling victory against Open Horses back on April 17th. Let's watch that race from Unfaithful Ways, who's going to come from out of it. She's on the outside in the red noseband. She's going to run these horses down. The runner-up would come back to win an Open 50 maiden claimer with a 67 buyer.
Yeah, she ran fine in here. I thought she got a pretty good trip, Dan, and she just has the best late finish in this race. It felt like it took her a while to get her legs underneath her there in mid-stretch. Once she did, she actually closes it down pretty easily. Another step in the right direction for her ever since they switched her over to turf at the beginning of this year, Dan. Small steps forward with every race.
Hasn't been off the board in any of her turf starts and has been on the board in all of her last 5 races. Ice Queen is up next, another horse coming out of that Tomorrow is a Long Time race. It was her first start off of the claim. And again, we saw a lot of horses in that race that just were kind of in behind horses while the winner had everything her own way up front.
Yeah, I thought this trip really didn't work out for Ice Queen in that race, Dan. Just got herself just sort of in and among horses there on the backstretch and just got shuffled back out of the race as they came around that second turn. Just really wound up in no position to really make any kind of an impact. And I thought maybe ran on deceptively well late in that race to make it as close as she did. I feel like she's a horse who could really rebound and take a big step forward in this race. Her new trainer, Reed Saldana, okay, first off the claim, really, really good second off the claim. I feel like this horse is going to run a lot better at a price.
And we're going to show that replay because the number 8 Tomorrow is a Long Time finished best of the 4 horses exiting that heat on May the 1st. Let's watch that effort now. Tomorrow is a Long Time, was able to save ground in mid-pack behind a solid pace, found a little bit of trouble in between horses on the turn. Now I'm going to alter course down to the inside, and it's too late to catch this 8-5 winner with this Val, but she is running on well down towards the rail.
Yeah, she did run on well here. I mean, we picked up the replay after, things started to work out for her. She finally got clear at that point. But up until then, she was just sort of stuck over behind horses and could never get clear to improve her position until it was way too late. She actually finished really well in there. You could obviously say she was pretty unlucky, Dan. She ran well there. Her race 2 back just doesn't do a lot for me, where she sat on top of an impossible long shot on the lead and broke her maiden. And she's just not a good price on the morning line. It's the only reason I don't have her in there.
And she'll have to stretch out to 1.125 again. Again, click that short comment for the last running line. You'll be able to watch that entire replay and all the trouble that those horses encountered in that race. Before we get to the top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for all the latest DRF TV video offerings. Top pick time for our Friday race of the day. I like Tomorrow is a Long Time. Don't love the 3-1 morning line, but she ran well last time out with a hint of trouble, finishing ahead of 3 of these common foes. And I think she does have enough tactical speed where she could find a triple in the clear this time.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I just didn't really want the short price on her, but she could easily win this race. I wanted Travel Smart. She's very lightly raced, and I think she is going to get the distance. She just needs to work out a clean trip this time. That's been a problem for her. Out of that May 1st race, I took for the Good Times just because I felt like, she might be the one who would be the best price in the race. So I put her second, and I'm going to use Ice Queen as well, the 7.
Good points about Travel Smart's pedigree and her upside. She's very lightly raced. 4178 for Mike, 8251 for me. Competitive Friday race of the day. It's the finale at the Great Race Place. Best of luck.